Fire her, now. That's the first thing I heard that morning, hissed into a headset by the hotel's general manager as a black town car rolled up to the front doors. And the her was me, Vanessa Cole, housekeeping, grey uniform hair, tied back, pushing a cart of fresh towels across the marble lobby like I'd done every day for 4 years. The delegation stepping out of that car looked like they owned half the city. In the centre was a tall man in a charcoal suit walking with the kind of quiet that made people step out of his way without him asking. This was Raymond Zhao, billionaire developer from Shanghai. The Wellington Plaza needed his investment to survive, and apparently the last thing they wanted in sight was me. The GM, Mr. Drake, pasted on a smile, straightened his tie, and welcomed him in. Zhao nodded politely, then spoke not in English but in rapid Mandarin. Drake's smile froze. He whipped out some translation app on his phone, shoved it toward Zhao, and the voice that came out, well, let's just say it turned mixed-use zoning permits into chicken tax and hotel moon cake. I almost laughed, but Zhao's face didn't even twitch. He just glanced at his team, and I could see it. The deal was slipping away word by word. What nobody in that room knew was that I understood every syllable. Mandarin wasn't a party trick for me, it was my second life. I'd spent 5 years in Beijing, earned a master's in East Asian business strategy from Tsinghua, even wrote a thesis on urban development policies. But student debt is a cruel landlord, and 4 years ago, housekeeping was the only paycheck that came fast enough to keep me from losing my apartment. Drake and his team shuffled Zhao into the boardroom, still fighting with that glitchy app, while I stood in the hallway, polishing the same strip of molding for the 3rd time. I could hear everything. Zhao was asking about new vertical zoning limits downtown. The translator softened his words into some generic, "we'll have to check," when in reality he was voicing serious doubts about whether our property even qualified for incentives. And here's where the fight in me started. I'd been told 100 times, stay in your lane. Don't interrupt. Don't cross lines. But watching the man who just ordered me fired fumble the biggest meeting of his career, knowing I had the answers sitting in my head, neat and ready, my chest burned. This wasn't about him anymore. It was about the hotel, the staff whose jobs would vanish if we lost this deal. And maybe, just maybe, about proving I wasn't invisible. I pulled off my gloves, smoothed my hair, and walked straight into the boardroom. Drake's eyes went wide. "Vanessa, not—" Now I ignored him, locked eyes with Zhao, and said in perfect Mandarin, Mr. Zhao, I heard your question about vertical zoning. If you'll allow me, I can answer in detail." The room went still. Zhao tilted his head, almost amused, and fired back a question laced with a Suzhou dialect twist, testing me. Without missing a beat, I explained the new 40-floor height cap, the circulation metrics, and why our location qualified for dual tourism and business incentives. I even drew parallels to projects in Beijing and Shanghai. His associates started taking notes. Drake tried to cut in, telling me to just translate, but Zhao waved him off. I want her perspective. So I gave it 3 simple adjustments that would make the Wellington irresistible to Chinese business travelers: a functional tea lounge near meeting rooms, family-friendly connecting suites, and digital payment systems like WeChat Pay at every point of sale. Low-cost measurable impact, easy to roll out. I tied each to a KPI because I knew numbers spoke louder than charm. By the end, Zhao was leaning in asking about risk management, tax incentives, cultural programming. I answered each in Mandarin, then translated for the room flipping languages like I was switching channels. When he finally asked about my background, I told him the truth. Harvard undergrad, Tsinghua Masters, 5 years in Beijing. His smile widened. "My wife's cousin studied with your advisor," he said. That single thread of connection. In Chinese business, it's called guanxi, and it's gold. The meeting ended with Zhao sliding a black business card across the table to me, both hands perfect etiquette. Drake looked like someone had just pulled the rug out from under him, but to his credit, he didn't fight it. He just said quietly, "Let's talk about your role later." 2 weeks later, I wasn't pushing a cart anymore. My nameplate read Director of International Guest Experience, and my first order of business was launching something I called the Hidden Talents Program, an internal hunt for skills our staff had that their job titles didn't show. We found a front desk clerk fluent in Japanese, a kitchen porter certified in accounting, a security guard who could design evacuation maps in 3 languages. We started paying stipends when those skills were used, offering cross-department opportunities and promoting from within when possible. Morale shifted. People walked taller. Of course, not everyone liked it. A rival hotel mocked us with gaudy ads parroting Drake's old hotel mooncake blunder. Some staff whispered about favoritism. But the night that proved our system worked wasn't in a meeting, it was during a blackout. The city lost power right in the middle of a banquet for Zhao's board. No lights, no Wi-Fi, no QR payments. And you know what? Nobody panicked. Housekeeping laid out guidelights in the hallways. The front desk switched to bilingual paper ledgers we'd prepped for emergencies. F plus and B, brewed tea with battery-powered kettles. A pastry chef spoke Teochew to one board member's elderly mother, making her smile in the dark. When the lights came back, Zhao stood up and said I saw a hotel use people as its backup wiring. 2 months later, Wellington signed a multi-year partnership with his company and the Hidden Talents program started rolling out to sister properties. Now here's the part that still stirs debate. Zhao also offered me a position at his firm, Director of East-West Strategy. I didn't take it full-time. I split my role between his company and Wellington on one condition: we'd fund a scholarship for frontline workers to develop new skills, no strings attached. Some people said I should have left, chased the bigger paycheck. Others said staying proved I believed in the system we'd built. Me, I think the real win was never choosing between the two. It was choosing to keep building bridges no matter where I was standing. That's my story. It started with fire her and ended with a hotel learning to see the whole person. Now I want to hear yours. Have you ever watched someone get overlooked knowing they had exactly what was needed? Did you speak up or stay silent? And what do you think? Was I right to split my role, or should I have chosen one path? Tell me in the comments. I'll be reading.